welcome back. I'm George, and today I'm sporting my Barley and Hops t-shirt as opposed to the lab jacket that we normally wear. Ray's got these up at the store, so you can get in touch with him. Go online, www.barleyandhopsbrewing.com. They're available. Hey, if you get a chance, please subscribe below. The little bell will show up if you like. That's your notifications button. If you click that, you'll get all the updates every time we post a new video. And it's subscribers like you that keep us alive. So please help out the channel, help out the community, and keep us going. Now, here's how we do videos, by the way, is we'll take your comments left below, and that's where we get our ideas from, because we want to serve you, the viewer. We can come up with our own ideas, but we've got 150 videos, and aside from going back and doing some of those over again, the new video ideas that we get come directly from you. So we appreciate that. Just keep them coming. Now, today's video is going to be on the follow-up of, there's a little card up there. You hit that and it'll tell you it's from when we made the rum. The easy way of making rum. And we use molasses and we use raw sugar. And our idea at that, now remember I told you this was just a couple of weeks ago, is that we're going to make a coconut rum. So I've got the three options here available to me and that we discussed. And, you know, I always say that when you distill through something, you always get a much better flavor. So I've got the coconut flakes, and I'm going to use those in the gin basket of my 3-inch column. There's other ways to do that, and I'll explain that. I'm going to use the coconut rum because I'll do a small batch, because I'll break these down. I'll do the coconut milk in the mash, and we'll run that. And then last but not least, I think I'll pull out the Turbo 500 and do this one. Because if I take out the Turbo 500 and remove all the packing out of the column, it runs pretty much like a good pot still, and really simple. And then I'll use the extract. So, you know, there's three ways, at least those are the three options I offer you. Of course, there are other ways to do this. But through this process and through these steps, just stay tuned with us, and I'll show you some little tips and tricks along the way it'll help you learn through the process and learn from the mistakes I've made in the past. Which is why we're here. So if you're still with me, let's get moving. I'll get this set up and then we'll get it to run it. I'm going to do a vacuum transfer from the fermenter into a carboy before I introduce that into my still. And the purpose of that is, of course, to get it off of that junk at the bottom. And also, I'm going to degas it. And that's what the vacuum transfer helps do. And I'm just going to use a small shop vac. So I'm going to show all of that to you again. So please stay tuned and we'll be right back. Okay, for my first step, I want to transfer, oh, that smells good. This is my rum mash that was made with the molasses and the raw sugar. And we're going to transfer it from this bucket because everything is already settled to the bottom into my carboy before I transfer that into my still. And I want to do this because I want to get it off the bottom. And I also want to degas it at the same time. So now these are the little caps. They come in a bunch of different colors, but they're the ones that go in your water bottle. And I use those. You can fashion those into just about a lot of different things. They fit perfectly on top of a carboy. Now remember, we've went through this before, but so you can skip right through this if you'd like. But for those who haven't seen it, I'm going to use a small 1.5 horsepower mini shop vac. And I've taken the hose. And you know those bungs that you can put in the top of it, they'll fit in the top of a 1-gallon jug. That fits right on the end there. So that makes that hole a little bit smaller. And that way I can put my vacuum hose in that. So that's completed. Now remember, the vacuum goes into the receiving. You take the vacuum on the receiving vessel, and that way you just drop the hose into the delivery vessel. And when you turn the pump on or the vacuum hose on, I've got a small T-valve here that I can control it with. All I do is put my finger over the end of this T-valve, which stops it up, and it causes a vacuum to be formed in here, and it'll suck everything from this bucket into this bucket at the same time, degas it. So to make sure that I don't suck up anything from the bottom, I've cut an angle on the end of this tube so that, because you know it's always going to be angled, it'll go right into the bottom. And I've also used this other green thing to kind of measure how far in I go. So I'll go to there, turn this on. Now remember, there she goes. And we'll just let that fill up because it's just going to transfer, degas, and leave all that sediment behind. It was that simple. It took me probably 2 minutes. All right, now let me show you something, because this is what I've got left behind: yeast and all those byproducts and fermentation that are left there. Oh God, that's good. We are at the next step. So what will happen is we're going to start to run this still. I've got 3 gallons or so, and I've saved the other 2 gallons for the Turbo 500. Now, because I've kind of changed things up a little bit, I need to let you know about that. When I was looking at the coconut flakes, I've got 7 ounces here, and they're unsweetened. So I'm kind of worried about whether I'm going to get that sweet coconut flavor transfer or if I'm just going to get a base raw coconut. So I really don't know. But that's what experimentation is all about in trying this. So what I did was we're going to skip one of the runs where I was going to do just the coconut milk. I added the milk already, so I 2 cans, 13.5 ounces each, and I added that coconut milk directly to that. So I've got 3 gallons plus 26 ounces of coconut milk, and I'm going to use this gin basket. And this gin basket is really neat because what I can do is I can put anything in it. And what will happen is when we distill, when that vapor is going to come from the kettle, because I'm putting this on top of the kettle, and I'll put my stack on top of that. And the vapors will rise up through this. It'll go through those holes. It'll go through my coconut flakes and straight up my column. And that's what I wanted to do. So I'm distilling through something. And you would do the same thing with coffee, with juniper berries. That's why it's called a gin basket. Normally, this would be in the middle of the column. So you'd have one stack, and then you put this in the middle, and then you put your other stack on top of that. But I'm running this as a straight pot still because I want to retain as much of that flavor that I possibly can. So I'm going to run this on top of the still at the very top and put my single stack here. So, and you'll see all that. This is a 7-ounce bag, and I've poured in probably, 5 ounces, maybe 6 ounces. That may be just a little bit too much. What I don't want to do is I don't want to stop it up. So there we go. So about a half a bag. Now we're set. I've got the column up here, and I've got my condenser on, and I've got the gin basket there with the coconut flakes in it. And then I've got my bung, and I took the temperature probe from my PID that I'm going to use, and I'm going to place that right there. Now that's where I'm going to sense the temperature from, is from the head. I want to know what that vapor temperature is because I know what it's supposed to be, somewhere around 173 to 184-ish. It all depends on how this particular still runs today. And I've got my PID, and I'll show you this. I built this PID with 2 plugs. I've got a 240 volt plug here, and I've got a 120 volt plug here, so I can use either or. I'm using a 3500 watt 240 volt heating element. And to me, it's just much more efficient for this practice. And so I've got it plugged into the 240 volt, and there goes my temperature probe, and I'm going to turn it on. Now, what will happen is it goes through its self-test, and I've got it set for 100. And right now it's sensing 79. You can hear it going. 79, 78.9 and 79 degrees. That's what it's sensing right now. And when it gets to 100, it'll stop. And that's what I want it to do. But, I've already got the parameters set. I'll show you something interesting. On these, on the MyPen and the Inkbird, they both do the same thing. You see the set button here, and then right next to that, there's a little blue button, and it says AT. That's an auto-tune button. So even though I've got the parameters already preset, if I push and hold that, there we go. Didn't want that to happen. Oh, go back to set. Push and hold that AT button. There, the little green light next to AT comes on, and that's auto tune. So what the PID's doing now, for my process, going between 78, 79 degrees to 100, it's going to track that, and it's going to set itself. It'll adjust those parameters to fine tune it. Okay? So here I have my 52 quart cooler full of water and ice. And remember, folks, ice is only there to prolong the water as it starts to get hot. Because it will. And you'll notice I got the tubes running up, and they run through the condenser, and that's into the bottom and out through the top. Then, of course, I've got my parent set up, and there she sits. Wow. We are at, I've got this thing set at 180. I've been playing with it all the way up in auto tuning and making my necessary stops. I stopped at 145 for about 10 minutes just to let any methanol run off. Now, here's what we've learned. Out of all mistakes and errors and failures, we learned so much. Now, I remember I had the gin basket down here at the bottom, and I should have known better. You think about the physics of how a still operates by heating what's in the kettle, and that rises up through the column. What I had potentially was a block. And because I had so much of that flaked coconut in there, and what happened was it started burping. It would purge, and then it would shoot out the top of the parrot, and I didn't want that to happen. So what I did was I moved the gin basket up to the top where it belongs, and lo and behold, I'm running right now at 160 proof, and it's running beautiful. I'm set at 180, and it's bouncing around between 180.1 and 179.8. So the PID is working absolutely right. The still's working exactly the way it should work. And now we're in business, and I can actually smell that coconut coming off the still as my distillate starts to run into the jar. And that's the amazing thing. And incidentally, every time I've done that, I've had to take the bung out. When I pull it out and the steam runs out, it just fills a room with this coconut aroma. So we're really onto something. And now you've learned the lesson that I erred at. We'll keep this going and come back. Hey, if you get a chance, please subscribe below. And it's subscribers like you that keep us alive. So please help out the channel, help out the community, and keep us going.